Good evening. Welcome in to the Bruning Law Firm postgame here on PowerMizzou.com. Gabe DeArmond with you after an 86-81 loss to the Tennessee Volunteers. We will talk it over with you. We'll welcome in Drew King from Thompson Bowling Arena when he is done with postgame talking to Dennis Gates, Missouri players, maybe Rick Barnes, and some Tennessee players as well. Drew will join us when he is done. Ask you guys to throw in the comments in the chat, in the comments, questions, anything you've got. Let me know. Like the show, share, do all of those things. Before I get too far into this, I want to shout out our friends at the Bruning Law Firm. When you are hurting, and that does not mean tonight, like after a Missouri basketball loss. That means like when you're actually hurting, get in touch with the folks at Bruning Law Firm. Your time matters, and Bruning has your back. Their team of personal injury lawyers will use data and all their years of experience to achieve real results fast. Get the relief you deserve quickly so you can get back to life. You can get in touch with them for a free consultation at 573-400-2796. That is 573-400-2796. They can serve you in Missouri, Kansas, and Illinois. Free consultation. They don't get paid until you do. Get in touch with them once again at 573-400-2796. So I want to give you my takeaways first. And that is, I didn't really, my opinion of Missouri is not different now than it was 2.5 hours ago. I expected Missouri to go in and fight and play a good game. I picked Tennessee, I think, by 6. Something like 74-68, 75-69, something in that neighborhood. Missouri went in and played a pretty good game. Missouri had 3 turnovers against the best defensive team in the country. They made 12 threes. They went to the free throw line 29 times. They had 8 steals, 16 fast break points, 17 second chance points. And yeah, they did some things, they had some struggles at some times. There is no question about that. It happens. But here's who I learned something about tonight. I learned something about Tennessee tonight because I saw a lot of people, and I was kind of among them, that I wasn't sure Tennessee belonged in that Auburn, Florida, Alabama discussion. They did tonight. That's a legitimate top 10 basketball team. That is a team that is good enough to go to a Final Four to win a national championship. It took Tennessee's best shooting night to win that game. 10 for 15 from three-point range for a team that came in shooting 31%. That's the third time all years that Kai Ziegler has hit 4 3-pointers. Ziegler was phenomenal. 4 for 4 from 3, 7 for 7 from the line, 8 assists. Probably would have been 15 if Tennessee could have made a layup in the first half. I mean, that was, and look, I am not a Jimmy Dykes fan as a general rule, but I thought he hit it tonight. Those were 2 legitimate top 15 teams. Those are 2 teams that can win games in March, that can beat almost anybody in the country. Missouri ran into Tennessee's. Look, I haven't watched Tennessee all season long, right? They ran into what I would think was Tennessee's best half of the season in the second half. Missouri was up 39-28 early in that second half, and Tennessee scored 57 points in the last 19 minutes. Tennessee doesn't do that, guys. And if you want to blame Missouri's defense, I guess go ahead, but I just thought Tennessee made plays, and a lot of those points also came late at the free throw line when Missouri was, trying to foul them to get back in this game. I thought, Missouri falls down 5-0, doesn't score for the first 6 minutes, immediately fight back. Tennessee falls down 11 points in the second half, immediately fight back. Missouri goes down 14 with about 4 minutes to go, immediately fought back, made it. I think 4 was the closest they got. Got to 6 a couple times. Just couldn't quite make the one play to really put the pressure on Tennessee. And, if that gets to a one possession game ever, you might see a little puckering from Tennessee, but you might not, because Zakai Ziegler's played a lot of basketball. Jamal Mashek's played a lot of basketball. Milicic, I thought, was the best player on the floor. I mean, another thing you got to remember, Tennessee needed 42 points from two guys that didn't play in a 20-point win over Florida to beat Missouri. I'll be interested to see what the comments are, because I know that it is very common to focus on your team and what your team did wrong. I did not think this was about Missouri doing things wrong. I thought this was about Missouri playing pretty well and Tennessee playing a little bit better. And as Sam says, you come back and beat A&M, it's a good week. Look, you go 1-1, you split this week. You're fine. I mean, even if Missouri loses Saturday, it's fine. But this team has put itself in a position that, you don't want to go 0-2 in a week. You want to win your home games, all that. So, I learned more about Tennessee tonight than I did about Missouri. And Logan says, not like Tennessee's threes were all wide open on defensive breakdowns. They were making everything. Yes, and that's the point, right? Were there a couple wide open threes? Sure. Missouri had a couple too. But we've watched Missouri do that to teams, right? After Missouri beat Ole Miss, Chris Beard came in the postgame press conference and he said, we just played a team that has two of the top 10 players in the league and they had A+ games. If Grill and Bates are going to shoot that way, they're going to beat almost everybody. If Zakai Ziegler and Milicic are going to shoot the way they shot tonight, and then Gainey's going to give you a couple, yeah, Tennessee's going to beat a whole lot of teams. I mean, that's the number one defense, I believe, in America. And Missouri scored 81 points and had 3 turnovers. And I think it's fair if you are a Missouri fan to say, I don't think they played as well as they could. I'm not saying Missouri played a perfect game. Tamar Bates scoreless in the first half. Mark Mitchell really kind of struggled all night. Made some plays, but struggled all night. Ant Robinson, I'm sure we'll talk about that. Caleb Grill didn't get going as much as he has in some games tonight. But that's what, you're not going to pitch a perfect game. We talked about this on the live show earlier this week, and Dennis Gates is saying, hey, I think there's another level. I think there's another level. And yes, ideally he is right. I mean, you'd love to have everybody play well and pitch a perfect game. Perfect games very rarely happen because there's another team on the floor. And that other team tonight is a damn good basketball team. Tennessee showed it could win playing the game that Missouri wanted to play. I wasn't sure Tennessee could win a game in the 80s. And they did. Now, that was more a game in the 70s. The fouls kind of pushed it to 80s. But still, I thought Tennessee wanted a 65-60 game. I thought Missouri, if they got to 75, would win. Missouri has not gotten to 75 and lost all season long. And Aiden, this game made me think Missouri can be a Final Four contending team. Look, that's what I wrote an instant analysis, which is up on the site right now, and you can read. Tennessee looked every bit a Final Four worthy team tonight, but Missouri looked like a team that could make it too. Again, not a prediction, just saying I think Missouri is capable of doing that. So let's get to this, and then maybe we'll take a couple voicemails. Billy, message me if when they're ready. The comment that was just up about Ant Robinson. Look, it's an issue. In the first 5.5 minutes, he missed a layup and committed 2 fouls, and he sat the rest of the half. And then he came back in the first minute 45 of the second half, he committed 2 more fouls. And I'm not going to tell you I saw everyone. I don't know if they were all good calls. I will tell you this. In the first 2 minutes of the game, I saw Ant Robinson doing this, the chicken wing, at least twice that he could have been called for and wasn't. I mean, he could have fouled out in Jeremiah Tillman time if they called that tonight. And there's a carryover effect, right? Because Robinson's not in the game, Tony Perkins can't play 38 minutes at that pace. So T.O. Barrett's in the game with 2 minutes left, and he's the guy taking a wing 3. It's a wide open shot. I get it. He's got to take it. but he's not the guy you want taking that shot. You want Perkins or Marquez Warwick or ideally Ant Robinson, but Ant Robinson was unplayable tonight. He played himself off the floor in 3 minutes of each half. And again, it caused big issues beyond just, hey, this guy that's supposed to be one of your best players wasn't on the floor. But so I think really it leads to a conversation. I think people would say Missouri has to have Ant Robinson to get where it wants to go. I don't know if I agree. And I'll talk to Drew about that when he comes on. But I don't know if I agree. If he's going to play like that, just give his minutes to T.L. Barrett. Start Perkins. Bring Barrett in when Perkins needs a rest. And, give Ant a shot in 2 weeks or whatever. But you went toe-to-toe with a legit top 5, top 10 team on the road with absolutely nothing from Robinson. So, I don't know if you do have to have him necessarily. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to hop on and get to the first voicemail. I know we got a few calls tonight, so we'll start there.
Gabe, this is Coach Matt of Oakville. Those Tigers look pretty good at times tonight. Got to hit those free throws if they want to win big games. But, oh, boy, those Tennessee Volunteers could really protect the rim. Whatever. Go get them on Saturday. MIZ.
Yeah, largely agree. Again, the defense, like I've seen a lot of comments about Mark Mitchell, and you guys are right. And Mitchell struggles sometimes to finish around the rim, but also like Tennessee's really good on defense, man. They make everything tough. And the free throws, I think this is going to surprise you guys. Here's the free throw numbers tonight. Missouri was 19 of 29. Tennessee was 21 of 30. Now, the two that really hurt, Tamar Bates misses the front end of 2 1-and-1s. He was still 6 of 8 tonight. 75% is good, but he's a 95% free throw shooter. Also, if he makes those two, he gets 2 more. Now, I don't think it's as simple as saying they lost by 4 and there's 4 free throws. I think that is way oversimplifying things. But those free throws did hurt. Now, that's kind of negated by the fact that Josh Gray goes 3 of 4. Like if you tell me before the game, Josh Gray and Tamar Bates are going 9 of 12 from the free throw line, I'll take that every night because I assume Tamar's going 8 for 8 and Josh is going 1 for 4. So I think those evened out. Perkins missed a couple you don't love. Mitchell was 4 of 6, which is okay. Marcus Allen missed one. Marquez Warwick missed one. Like, I think Missouri's misses were amplified because Missouri was trying to come back. But Missouri was 19 of 29. Tennessee was 21 of 30 from the line. Like the free throw line did not decide this game. That Missouri had the edge from the free throw line until they started putting Tennessee on the line late. I mean, Tennessee started 2 for 7 from the free throw line. Went 0 for 4, I think, in the first half at one point. And Missouri started forcing, intentionally fouling and putting them there. And Tennessee missed some to keep Missouri in the game. So, yes, if Missouri shoots 80%, let's say they're 24 of 29, is this a different game? Yeah, it probably is. But if Tennessee shoots 80%, it's also a different game. Like, and again, I understand we're talking about games that come down to 1 or 2 plays. And I'm not saying that free throws didn't matter because Missouri did have some costly misses. But, I don't know if that's the determining factor in this game. All right, let's go to the next voicemail.
What's up, fellas? This is Yasiel Puig, Mizzou. I got banned during this game. I said, at SEC officiating, I hope one of the people on your crew stubs their toe, which develops into an ingrown toenail, which then during the procedure, they perish. Shouldn't have said that. Tony Perkins' legacy game. Tony 30 Perkins. I love him so much. Yasiel Puig's been banned. Mizzou's been banned for 7 days. Fuck Tennessee.
All right. So, Tony Perkins Tony Perkins kept Missouri alive early. Scored 11 of his 16 points in like a 5-minute stretch in the first half. Scored 11 of Missouri's first 13. I was wondering if somebody would bring up the officiating. Guys, the officiating was fine. Like, it was fine. they were beating the hell out of each other. Could you pick out a call that Missouri should have gotten and didn't? I thought the call against T.O. Barrett late was bad. I thought, if anything, that I thought that's either a no call or the Tennessee guy created the contact. But there was one drive late in the first half where Zakai Ziegler got fouled 3 times and it wasn't called, and they come to the other end and Missouri go into the free throw line. Can you pick out a call here and there to complain about? Sure. And I understand after every game that some people will pick out the 2 that went against their team and ignore the 2 that went against the other team. The officiating overall, I thought absolutely fine. And again, the free throws really didn't become a thing until Missouri was kind of forced to foul. I actually thought, if anything, there were a couple of whistles against Tennessee on drives by Missouri in the last 6 minutes that I thought was, were a little bit borderline. So overall, I know we can nitpick officials all the time, but I didn't think they were a factor. I thought they mostly let 2 pretty good teams play tonight. All right, let's keep rolling through voicemail so I can save some of my voice until Drew is done with postgame.
Gabe, long-time listener, first-time caller. Love you on TMA. My question to you is, this Missouri Tigers basketball team, is there anything about their game that you like more compared to the team that lost to Norfolk State? Is there anything from the team that lost to Norfolk State that you would want on this team this year? My curiosity is piquing since there's a lot of comparisons to that team, so I'm curious if there's one thing you like over the other.
Well, I think what you like about this team is its depth. I mean, that team that lost to Norfolk State, ultimately one of the reasons it lost to Norfolk State was they played 7 guys. And when one of them got hurt, and Kim English was hurt late in that year, was some, some lack of depth. This team, I wrote this, and I'll just read it from Instant Reaction. And understand, Instant Reaction, I am writing as the game goes. So some of these things are written with 3 minutes left in the first half. Some of them get changed, some of them don't. But I said the first half was Dennis Gates' master class. T.O. Barrett and Peyton Marshall played. Marquez Warwick, who Gates said earlier in the week he wanted to step up, contributed. Tamar Bates and Trent Pearson, Mark Mitchell and Gray all got some rest, didn't do any heavy lifting in the first half, and Gates just kept throwing guys out there in waves against a Tennessee team that he didn't think can match his team's depth. It reminded me of when Fran Fraschilla used to say during Mike Anderson games, the pressure is cumulative. In the first half, sometimes you're going, why is this guy out there? And why are we seeing him now? And why is Marcus Allen getting minutes here? But the idea is, with 4 minutes left, if I play 12 guys, none of them have had to play 32 minutes and they're going to be fresher. Now, it didn't happen at the end of this game, right? Tennessee made enough plays and that game slowed down enough that there were plenty of breaks and Tennessee, didn't run out of gas. But that's the idea behind it. And that's why I think this team is certainly as good as any team since that 2011, 2012 team at Missouri. I'm not ready to say it is better than 2011, 2012. I mean, that team was, I think, 30-5 and just absolutely ran roughshod over some really good teams. So I'm not going to say this one's better, but it's definitely Missouri's best team since then. And look, if they end up at the end of the year as good as, the 11-12 team or that 08-09 team that went to the Elite Eight, I won't be shocked. I mean, I think if you can add one thing to this team, it's one of 2 things. Somebody mentioned Phil Pressey in the comments. Yes, if you can add the best point guard probably in school history to any team, he makes him better. The other thing is a guy who you can consistently count on to score in the paint, because I love Josh Gray as a player. He is a beautiful role player and accepts his role and plays it very well. He is, let's be honest, just kind of a liability offensively when it comes to actually scoring. And then Mark Mitchell, we've talked about, he drives, he can get there. He has had some trouble finishing. Hey, Drew King's here from Knoxville, and he is dressed Drew, the uniform here is hoodie, man. I don't know what we're doing in coat and tie. It looks good.
Well, listen. When I'm on the road, I'm trying to look like I'm supposed to be where I'm supposed to be. So that's why I usually dress it up a little bit when I'm out here. I'm sorry for the background noise. Rick Barnes is doing a radio show at the same time as us. So.
Okay. Well, does Rick want to be on our show? Does he want to tell us what he's telling us?
I feel like he already is.
Yeah, he kind of is. That's true. All right. Well, appreciate you. So, look, just before we get into it, and I kind of cloud your thoughts with mine. Overarching thoughts after this one.
So, Gabe, if I had told you before the game that Mizzou was going to score 81 points and hold Chaz Lanier to 10, I would have told you it was an automatic win for the Tigers, right? Like, they did a lot of the things that they were supposed to come out with the win, but it was the tiniest things that killed them down the stretch, right? It was obviously the free throws played a really big part in it. Tony Perkins talked about how he feels like they lost focus a little bit on the rebounds. So, yeah, like I thought they did a lot of good things tonight, but they weren't perfect, and Tennessee played just about perfect.
Yeah, I think it was going to take almost perfect to win that game. Like, if it took 97 to win that game, Missouri was like 92.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't perfect, but it was still, I mean, you go on the road and you turn the ball over 3 times and score 81 points against the best defensive team in the country. Like, I will take my chances that even if I don't guard Tennessee, they're not shooting 67% from 3. They just did tonight. And, like, if Zakai Ziegler is going to go 4 for 4, like, sometimes you just say, damn, it sucks, but that wasn't our night.
Ziegler had 4 threes in 2 other games this season. Both of those were blowouts. So for Mizzou to come within 4 points on a night like this, I think says more than the loss itself does.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the comment that was just on the screen. Ryan Wimhoff thinks you're at a job interview in Knoxville.
I'm too sweaty for a job interview right now. It's hot up here.
Seriously. Yeah, like, you can pick things out here and there, right? Like, you would have loved T.O. Barrett to not be the guy that shot that 3 down 6. You would like Tamar Bates to not miss the front end of a 1-and-1. You can pick a thing here and there, but like also in the first half, Tennessee missed a lot of layups, man. Like Tennessee had Missouri, like held Missouri scoreless for 6 minutes and was behind 2 minutes after that, Right. So like, I think both teams have things they'll look back on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, at the same time though, it was a really good game out of Tennessee. Like, to score 81 points after a game where you only scored 64, I think says a lot about kind of the upside of the Volunteers, and kind of prove they belong in the top 5. That was kind of my takeaway. It's just like, this is actually a really good team, and they showed it tonight. But at the same time, like, Mizzou hung in there, and I don't know that we learned a whole lot new about Mizzou. Like, we knew they were going to be competitive in this game. We know that they can hang with the very best in the country. And so they're not good enough to win this game yet, but we've seen them get better over the course of the season. So I think that this is one that they'll definitely learn from.
Yeah, so you guys saying something's going on with StreamYard tonight with recognizing my mic, so I turned it off. I'm just using the computer mic. Hopefully it sounds fine to you guys still. So a couple of things, like Tennessee gets down 11, and I don't think anybody expected them to quit, right?
Yeah.
But down 14 with about 4:50 left. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think Missouri was going to quit, but there was a little part of me that thought it might end up an 18 to 20 point loss. And I don't really feel that's representative of how they played. So for the people that didn't watch this game, for the people that are just going to wake up and have a vote, for the computers who care about garbage time and all that, like, I do think those last 5 and the last 5 minutes were important because Missouri was 1 play away from actually having a chance to win. But I also think it's important that the final score actually is representative of what this game was. And I mean, I don't know if you were listening to Rick Barnes either on the radio show now or if you talk to him in the post-game news conference, I imagine he was incredibly complimentary of Missouri. Jimmy Dykes couldn't say enough good things about Missouri during the game. He said, first time I've seen him, and I think we're watching two teams that can make the Final Four.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to talk to Rick. I basically talked to Dennis and then headed straight to the locker room to get players. And Rick just finished up his radio show here, I think. So, okay. But yeah, I think that, there's a lot of mutual respect here. I think both coaches are 2-2 against each other now. Like Dennis Gates took the first 2 against Rick, and Rick has the last 2 against Dennis. So, man, this is a little bit of a budding rivalry, not in any fan base sort of way, but just the coaches themselves, I think, know each other really well, and they have opposing strengths.
Tell me there wasn't a little part of you when Tennessee missed a free throw or two in those last couple minutes that goes, oh no, Missouri's really going to hit another half-court shot and win in Knoxville 86-85.
I think I texted you it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about Mizzou. They did keep it competitive. The loss really only stings in the win-loss column, right? They're going to be fine metrics-wise. I don't know if they've dropped on KenPom at all, but I don't expect them to see a really big dip there or in the net rankings. So, I think that they're still a top 15 team, which is where they're ranked.
Yeah, Missouri is 22 on KenPom. I don't know what they were at the beginning of the day, but I know it was
22 or 23.
Yeah, I know it was close to that. So no big deal there. So Drew, do you want to hang out with us for a voicemail? We haven't heard from Tiger Terry yet. It's possible maybe we get one.
I'd love to.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think about Gates maybe bringing Ant off the bench instead of starting him? His turnovers and his really, really dumb fouls he's taken early away from the basket does hurt the team. And then it seems that mentally he's checked out of the game. Possibly bringing him off the bench might help him calm down a little bit and get in the flow of game, kind of like Grill does now.
So Drew, I'll give you my thoughts on Ant, but I want yours first. Obviously bad game tonight. Going forward, what do you think?
I don't think it's a horrible idea to bring him off the bench. Dennis Gates sounded pretty fed up about the fouls in the postgame tonight. Said they were stupid backcourt fouls. I think that it could help him settle down a little bit. My only question is who would you replace him with? Because I don't think moving Grill into the starting lineup really helps anything. And then, are you looking at Jacob Cruz or, Marquez Ward? I know he had a good game tonight, but it doesn't seem like they totally trust him yet. So that would be my only con of benching Ant here.
So I would go a step further. I don't think I'd play him against Texas A&M. At least not first half. I'd give him all right, you're going to sit here for 20 minutes and figure it, because the 2 fouls early in the first half are one thing. He also had a transition, went 1-on-3, missed a layup. You got to back that out. You got to find somebody to help you. But the other thing was, Drew, he could have gotten called for 2 offensive fouls in the first 2 minutes. That he just swings his arm. He could have had 4 fouls in 3 minutes of that game. But the early fouls are one thing. If I'm Dennis Gates and I put him on the floor to start the second half and he commits 2 more, I'm done. And I'm not done for tonight. I'm done for a minute. And I understand the argument that if this team's going to reach its ceiling, they need him. But they just went on the road and pushed a top 10 team to the limit with nothing from him.
Yeah.
I understand you want him. And I'm not saying you give up on him for the season, but I think it's message sending time there.
Interesting. I mean, my only counterpoint is that means you're relying pretty big on T.O. Barrett and Marquez Warwick. But like you said, they played pretty well without Ant tonight. I don't have a whole lot of arguments against it.
Right. I tell Tony Perkins, I need 30 minutes out of you against A&M.
Mhm.
Like I need 30 minutes. And then Warwick and Allen and whoever it might be. And Colin in the chat brought up a good point. Like Nate Oates got mad at Mark Sears and benched him.
Yeah.
Mark Sears got a lot more equity built up than Ant Robinson does, So I wouldn't hate to see it.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like with Caleb coming off the bench, anybody can come off the bench, right? Nobody, Mark Sears included, is too high or has too high of a position to do that.
Yeah. So not hugely damaging tonight. I view it as like a missed opportunity a little bit, right? You were in that game, and like we talked about this morning. I mean, if you win that game, then all of a sudden it is hard to find you not in the top 4. So you still can get there. It just is like it's delayed a little bit now.
Yeah, it lowers the ceiling just a tad, right? Like the best case scenario that we thought this team had probably isn't there anymore. But it still could get pretty high, right? Like a win over Texas A&M at home this weekend, you're still in pretty good shape to finish top 4.
Right.
And then like I still feel pretty good about home games against Kentucky. I think a home game against Alabama isn't out of question. So there's a lot more season left to play. We're literally just now halfway through SEC play, Gabe. Like just now.
Right. And you were looking at those standings, like Tennessee had to win this to get to 6-4, which is where Missouri is if they lose their next game. Like this league is, Tennessee lost a game by 30 points in this league, and then they lost to Kentucky at home. So like things happen in this league. It puts a little more import on the A&M game. Although again, like you can lose the A&M game and you're fine. Like you don't want to. But I think the goal is 1-1 this week, obviously. And if you get that one, you feel really good. But even if you lose that one, I don't feel bad.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like
you can lose that game and be in the top 4. You'd be a half game out of 4th place.
Like you lose that game, I think at worst you are tied for 6th place.
Right. And you've already beaten Ole Miss and you've already beaten Florida.
Exactly. So you're still in a really good position, and it's not like the schedule is a murderer's row of teams, right? Like Oklahoma's beatable, Georgia is beatable, Arkansas you already beat, South Carolina doesn't have a win in SEC play, and Vanderbilt you already beat. So like there's a lot of other games that you can pick up some pretty relatively easy wins in there.
And Billy is putting the KenPom prediction. The only game they are projected to lose right now is 78-77 at Oklahoma by 1 point. Like KenPom has them going 8-1 the rest of or 7-1. I guess that would be the rest of the way.
No, 8-1.
Is it 8? Yeah, 8-1. They've got 9 games left. So 8-1, which would put
14-4.
14-4, right? The actual projected record is 11-7 because also 3 of those wins are 1 point over Georgia, 3 points over A&M, 1 point over Alabama, 2 points over Arkansas. So obviously but that's the point. That's what this league is. I thought even when Missouri was down, they went to the under 8 timeout, down 6. And I thought, I bet if you'd given Dennis Gates truth serum this morning, said you're going to be in a 2-possession game at the under 8 timeout, you good with that? I bet he would have said yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, here's the thing. Tennessee has lost at home one time all season, and it was to Kentucky, who's a pretty good team. So this is a pretty, like, you can't be surprised or shocked by anything that you saw tonight, I guess is my point.
Right. Yeah. All right. We got one more voicemail, so we're going to have Billy play that. You and I will react to that, and then I'll let you go, and I'll wrap things up.
Okay. Sounds good.
Update, Missouri fucking sucks. Update, Missouri fucking sucks.
All right. Well, it wasn't worth playing once, much less twice. I don't know. I guess I thought we needed you here to react to that. I don't know that necessitates a reaction.
Disagree, but to each their own.
Yeah, whatever. If maybe that was a Tennessee fan. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that was one of the guys that panics 2 minutes into every game on the game thread. I don't know, man. All right, Devonta, appreciate the super chat, man. If they win 14-4, they're seated where, Drew? 8-1 the rest of the way in this league gets them
8-1 the 3 seed.
I think maybe a 2. I think
What would that put them overall?
If they go
25
8-1
and
from here on out,
6,
they're
yeah.
25-6.
Yeah, in this league, that could do it.
With wins over Alabama, A&M, 4 more road wins. Yeah. I think you'd have a shot. So
that'd do it.
All right, man. I know you got a ton of stuff to do. You're flying out tomorrow, so I promise eventually I'll send you to a road game they win.
Okay, thanks, Gabe.
All right, Drew, appreciate you, man. That is Drew King, live from Thompson Bowling Arena in Nashville. Wanted to make sure to get him on here with you guys. Look, I do think it's important to us. The only game the rest of the year that we don't plan to be at in person as of right now is the road game at Georgia. Drew went to Texas. He went to Tennessee. I think at the end of the year, he's only going to have missed 4 games, and I think that's important to us. Hopefully it's important to you guys that we have somebody there talking to players and actually asking Dennis questions, because like the Mississippi State game, they didn't even have to do a press conference because nobody was there. So, hopefully you guys find some value in Drew being down there. Appreciate him taking some time to hang out with us and kind of give you a little insight into what they said after the game. But I think we all kind of feel the same way. Like, I haven't read the message board. I haven't really been on Twitter because I've been on this show pretty much the whole time since the game ended. But the vibe I'm getting from you guys is kind of the same way I felt and the same way Drew felt. Yeah, missed opportunity, kind of a bummer, but these things happen in the SEC. And especially on the road in the SEC. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens when Texas A&M comes to town this weekend, because that is a home game for Missouri. However, here's the one caveat I'm throwing in that one. Last week, Missouri got that midweek bye, and they had 7 days off and went to Starkville and played lights out. Right now, you never know how teams are going to react coming off that bye. Does it hurt them? Does it energize them? It energized Missouri, obviously. Texas A&M has that bye this week. They're off all week long, and they will come to Columbia on Saturday. Are they rusty? Are they rested? I don't know. A&M is good enough to come in to Columbia and win. They play kind of similar to Tennessee. I think generally much more offensive rebounding driven than shooting and scoring. They've uglied some games up against Missouri. I don't think Dennis has beaten them. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think Dennis has beaten them while he's at Missouri. So it'll be interesting. Big bounce back opportunity. Again, not like make or break for the season. Not even make or break for the double bye and in the top 4. But another huge opportunity for one of those teams to kind of get a leg up and get a tiebreaker on somebody. So I don't know, guys. We generally go an hour. It's a little bit shorter tonight. But I don't feel like there's, other than the last guy who called, quite enough disagreement to drive an hour-long show. I think we kind of see this the same way. I saw a comment, a B game out of Missouri and A- game out of Tennessee. That might be true. I would say it was a B+ game for both teams, because as well as Tennessee shot the ball from 3-point range, like they did miss a lot of easy ones in the first half. So I think those are, I would give both teams a B+ for that performance. Like, I don't think either one was perfect, but I think both were pretty good. It has been brought to my attention that we've got one more voicemail, so we want to get the late callers in and hopefully as insightful as the last guy.
I don't know about you, but I think that was a pretty good loss. If you're going to have one in conference play to make it your second on the road in a really tough arena, it just came down to Milicic and Ziegler hitting everything. I think Tennessee played an A plus game, almost, and I think Mizzou played B minus B plus game, and we're in there 4 points. I think this says more about Mizzou than it does Tennessee in a good way. A-Rob needs to clean it up. We just can't have him fouling like that. He's just too feisty and too good defensively to really have him out. And I think he is a part of our best lineup when he's on. I didn't like how wide we got with the lineups. I get the idea from Gates where it's just run them, tire out Tennessee. But I don't like how much time that Barrett got when Warwick and Perkins were going off, basically. I think that was a very questionable decision. And I do like Warwick getting a little bit more time than he is now. MIZ.
All right. That was like the full spectrum of voicemails in those last two calls. We went from unhinged 5-second just dumbassery to like very calm, analytical 3-minute call. We got the whole spectrum, guys. This is what we do here for you on this show. I do want to remind you before we kind of wrap things up that we are brought to you post-game shows all year long by our friends at the Bruning Law Firm. The Bruning Law Firm has your back. Their talented team of personal injury lawyers want you to be able to get back to your life as quickly as possible. They'll serve you if you're in Missouri, Illinois, or Kansas. They're fast. They're efficient. You can call them for a free consultation. It's not going to cost you anything at first. Call them for a consultation at 573-400-2796. Again, 573-400-2796. Tell them you heard about them on Power Mizzou, so they know that we are doing what we told them we do and sharing their information. And again, hope you're not in a situation where you need them, but if you are, can personally recommend the guys at the Bruning Law Firm. Known AJ and his brothers for a while. They're big Mizzou fans, big supporters of this site. So if you guys need it, 573-400-2796 for your free consultation. Mizzou on the way back, I assume, right now from Knoxville. They'll have a media day on Friday. Then Saturday, 2:30, Texas A&M. Just back at it in the SEC. I haven't really looked at the other results tonight. I don't know what's going on in the late game, so it'll be interesting to see. Do want to remind you, if somehow you are watching this show, if you watch our YouTube stuff and you don't subscribe to the site, everything on the site is free today. That's another 2 hours and 45 minutes. All the VIP stories, all our analysis of this game, everything unlocked. You can check that out. Also offering you a subscription for 60% off. That's less than $43 for the next year. So if you are one of the people who thinks, man, I really like that guy, he's entertaining as hell on YouTube, also very attractive, but I just haven't pulled the trigger on signing up for his site, then maybe it's a nice thing that you do it because we're offering you 60% off. So everybody that joined us, got up over 200 people for most of the show, which appreciate you on a Wednesday night. Make sure to leave a nice comment, say good things. There's the other scores: Georgia leading LSU, Arkansas. Wow, Arkansas winning at Texas. All of a sudden, John Calipari is going to rise from the dead, maybe. So we'll see. But comment, subscribe while you're here. I will put this on a podcast as soon as we finish up here. And if you're listening there, just share it on social media. Leave a nice review. We want to reach as many people as possible. Appreciate Billy Derrick for running the show behind the scenes, getting you guys the the standings and all the screenshots and the tweets and the voicemails and stuff. Appreciate Drew for taking a few minutes while he's in Knoxville to bring us Rick Barnes' radio show. And appreciate you guys for sticking with us through a couple of technical issues and some background noise. We will have another post-game show Saturday after the A&M game. So hopefully that one a little happier tone. But again, Mizzou 85-81 lost tonight, 17-5 overall, 6-3 in the league. Be back in the morning with PM in the AM, and then Drew and I Saturday after the game. Talk to you then.